Hello everyone, I'm Heather. Thank you for joining me today for this video. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I am a single mom of 3 kids and I love to travel, and I make videos about all aspects of the travel experience. If that's something that interests you, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. We took a family vacation in June of 2021. We went to several places in Maryland, Virginia, and North Carolina, and we stayed at 5 different hotels. And in today's video, I am going to rank our hotels for you from number 5, the worst of the bunch, to number 1. If you haven't been following along with all the vlogs from the trip that we took, I will link the playlist of all the vlogs from our trip at the end of this video. First, I want to say that the kids and I discussed these rankings before I made this video. We very easily agreed on what the best hotel was, and we very easily agreed on what the worst hotel was. The 3 in the middle were a little bit tougher. So I'm going to share what I thought for the 3 in the middle and how I would rank them. And just know that my kids' opinions might have been a little different than mine. In the number 5 spot, so this was the worst of the 5 hotels we stayed at, was the Spring Hill Suites in Baltimore, next to the Baltimore Thurgood Marshall Airport. We got there very late at night, like 1, 2 in the morning. We were very tired. And just overall, the experience was pretty negative. It wasn't the worst hotel I've ever stayed at in my life or anything like that. I mean, it was fine. I didn't want to stay there again. We were supposed to stay there again the night before our flight home when we went back to Baltimore. And I actually canceled that and changed to a different hotel. So that should give you some indication of what I thought of it. My kids were actually very uncomfortable, and if it hadn't been so incredibly late at night, I probably would have tried to find us something different. But it was okay for the one night, just for the purposes of getting a quick sleep and getting out of there. That's all we did. We didn't do anything else in the hotel. We were there a very short amount of time. Basically just went to bed, slept, got up, got ready, left. Okay, here's what was wrong. Building was an older property. And you could just tell that in like the architecture and the size of things and the just overall it had an older feel. When we first got there, there was no one at the front desk. Now, this isn't an unreasonable thing at 1 o'clock in the morning. And there was a little sign that said that they would be right back. I had dropped the kids off at the door and had them get all the luggage out of the trunk of the car. And they went in and were sitting in the lobby waiting for me. And then I went to park the car. It was very full. The parking lot was very full. So I'm assuming that the hotel was very full. It was a Saturday night in June. Given the fact that the hotel was so close to the airport, I'm assuming that most of the people staying there would have been travelers like us who were either coming in on a flight or were going to be leaving on a flight, but that's just a generalization. By the time I parked the car and walked away, I got to the lobby and realized I'd forgotten my mask and had to go back to the car and get my mask and then come back again. And the car was parked some distance away. This was also during the cicadas, and there were cicadas all over by the entryway, by the front doors, like really bad. And they were automatic opening doors, so there was not really any way to keep the cicadas from getting in. I tried first, since no one was at the front desk, I first tried to check in on the Marriott Bonvoy app, and I could not figure it out. I was probably really tired. I'd never used the Marriott app to check into a Marriott property before, and so I wasn't familiar with it, and I wasn't having any luck, and I was pretty frustrated. And thankfully, a gentleman who was working at the front desk came back then and sat down, and so I said forget it, and so I just went up to him and checked in with him. It was very quick and quiet because it's the middle of the night. We were both tired. Right away, I wasn't thrilled because they put me on the first floor, and I've talked about how I don't like the first floor. I just have issues with it from a safety perspective, and I just am not comfortable being on the first floor, especially when there's other options. And there was no reason that they should have put me on the first floor because I had made this reservation months in advance, and I have it on my Marriott account that I want a higher floor, and I want to be away from the elevators. Hilton is very good about always giving me that. Marriott, apparently not so much. So I wasn't going to argue about it at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we went down, and right away, the room was just kind of dingy. It was a suite with 2 queen beds and a sofa bed, and my intention had been to have one of the kids sleep on the sofa bed so that we could each have our own bed. If you go back and watch this video, you'll find out how, even if the sofa bed is clean, which it was not in this instance, I've decided I'm not ever going to make any of us sleep on a sofa bed. Sofa beds just are not comfortable beds. When we pulled the sofa bed out, the mattress of the sofa bed was stained and very icky looking, and so we just pushed it back into the couch. The couch cushions had stains on them. The walls had stains on them. There were strange like gray markings, probably from the laundry process, on the sheets on the beds. The good thing was the mattresses themselves, when I inspected the beds, were very clean and brand new looking. Like, I think the beds were really new. But like, Ben was freaking out a little bit about the stuff on the sheets. He's like, what is that? And I'm like, I'm sure it's just like laundry stuff. And it was on a couple of the pillowcases too. There was hairs in the bathroom by the sink. I'm assuming from housekeeping, but who knows? It was very, very dated. The bathroom especially. The closet door didn't shut correctly. It was just not a nice room. It was dingy and banged up, and there were cleaning issues. We didn't feel great in the room. The room itself was enough for us not to be comfortable, but then our next door neighbors were apparently having a party, and they were really loud. Thankfully, we were only able to hear them out in the front, like, living room area, like the sitting area of the suite. When we were in the bedroom area, we couldn't hear them. So either, you know, just where they were in their room compared to where we were was enough, or they stopped and went to bed. But the noise was not audible once we were in bed, and we were able to sleep fine. But for all of those reasons, this hotel was in 5th place. I really can't rank number 4 and number 3. So these two are tied for 3rd, 4th place, okay? And I'm just going to talk about them each in turn. And the reason I say that is because they each had some advantages over the other one, or some things that were better than the other one. The 2 hotels that I'm talking about that were tied were the Hampton Inn and Suites in Corolla, North Carolina, which was right on the, well, sort of right on the beach on the other side of the dunes. And then the Hampton Inn and Suites, Williamsburg historic area in Williamsburg, Virginia. We had the same type of room in both hotels. We had a 2 queen bed sofa suite. So same as at the Spring Hill Suites, really. 2 queen beds and then a sofa sleeper. And then there's also always like a desk and some other additional furniture. But they had a little different layout. You can go back and watch my room tours of these 2 hotels to see what I'm talking about. They were just set up a little bit different. And I'll just kind of give you like some of the features of each, that why it was hard for me to choose which one was better. I felt like the room at Williamsburg felt more spacious, just the way it was set up. The room in Williamsburg was definitely cleaner, and the hotel as a whole was definitely cleaner at Williamsburg. There were some housekeeping issues at the one in the Outer Banks. The Outer Banks one obviously kind of won for location because it was at the beach, and we had a balcony. We did not have a balcony at the one in Williamsburg. The beds were more comfortable at the one in Corolla, North Carolina. I felt like the mattresses were a little bit too firm at the one at Williamsburg, and also the sheets were scratchy. So for bed comfort, the one in North Carolina was better. The one in North Carolina, the bathroom, the grout was missing between the tub and the tile on the floor, and it looked really bad. There was like a big gap there with like pebbles and stuff in it, and that wasn't good. The one in North Carolina was quieter. We were a long way from the elevator, and if there was anybody on either side of us, we did not hear them. We did hear some hallway noise a little bit, like on the first night, but after that, I think it was fine. But the one in Williamsburg, we were right next to the elevators. Like, the elevators were literally on the other side of the wall, and we heard the elevator going up and down every time it moved. And we had noise of people getting on and off the elevator going past our door. So for quiet, the one in Corolla was better. We had some issues with the staff at the one in Corolla, where we didn't have any trouble with the staff at the one in Williamsburg, but we hardly interact with anybody there at all. And I talked about the issues with the front desk person in the room tour video that I made on that one. We didn't have the breakfast at any of the hotels we stayed at on this trip. We're just not comfortable with the way breakfast is right now in hotels. Like, it's still limited for food, but they're not doing the grab and go anymore. They're just letting everybody eat down there, and it's kind of a madhouse. We used the pool at the one in Williamsburg, and it was kind of cold. I mean, the pool itself was fine, but the water was cold. We did not use any of the pools. There were actually 4 pools at the hotel in Corolla. A small kiddie kind of pool outside, a regular pool outside, an indoor pool, and a lazy river with tubes outside. But we didn't have an opportunity to use any of those pools, so I can't really speak to that. So, I mean, these were very similar properties other than the location was very different. But just there were some things that were better at the one and some things that were better at the other. And the rooms were very similar. And so I'm going to give these two a tie at basically 3rd place. Okay, in 2nd place was the Hampton Inn and Suites Baltimore Inner Harbor. This was an inner city, right downtown Baltimore in a high-rise hotel. It was actually, even though it was a Hampton, it was basically a full-service hotel. Well, I don't think they had bellboys. They didn't have anybody to take your luggage up for you. They did have carts if you wanted to use those to take your luggage up for you. But they had valet service, which we used. And the front desk staff was very nice. They did keep our luggage for us on the day we checked out when we went to the National Aquarium. They kept all of our luggage for us in a locked room back behind the front desk. So that was nice. Again, we didn't use the breakfast there. This was a very nice property. It is in what was originally a bank building, and it was very modern. The room was very modern. The decor was very nice. It was very quiet. The staff were very, very friendly and nice. It was very clean. We slept good. The beds were comfortable. I mean, we really didn't have any complaints at all. The only 2 little quirky things was they seemed to kind of short us on towels and stuff, but since we were only there one night, it didn't matter. And also they had that clear doored fridge with the light on in the room, which you can go back and watch the video of my room tour of that hotel to see what I'm talking about. But they seemed just about as annoyed with that as we were. And obviously I think that's something that they realized later was probably a mistake. And I wouldn't be surprised if they replaced those refrigerators sometime in the future. But otherwise, we didn't have any complaints about that hotel. We had a very satisfactory stay. And so that one is in my number 2 spot. And then our number 1 hotel from our trip, which was the best hotel we stayed at, which we all strongly agreed. We loved this hotel. Megan said she wants to live there. It was really nice. It was the Hilton, Washington, D.C. National Mall, The Wharf. It's right next to L'Enfant Plaza, and it's within walking distance or 1 subway stop on the metro to the National Mall. It's a great location. It's an ugly building on the outside, like built in the 60s, 70s, or 80s or something. It's not attractive on the outside, but the inside is all fully renovated. It's very modern. The rooms are gorgeous. The bathroom is really nice. It's built around a central courtyard, and so your view is either going to be the city or the central courtyard with the pool in the center. Big, full floor-to-ceiling windows in the rooms. I mean, the wall that the windows is completely window. King-size beds. We had 2 king-size beds, which were very, very comfortable. It was immaculately clean. It was so quiet. We couldn't hear anything. We did use the full-service restaurant downstairs. We had a very nice meal there, very attentive service, good food. And we also used the Starbucks in the lobby. We also used the parking ramp there, which was great. I mean, good service in the parking ramp. When do you ever hear that? Someone actually came up to me and then guided me to a space. I've never had that happen before. Just overall, we were very pleased, and not only pleased, but very impressed with this property, especially the quality of the room design. It was just so modern and comfortable and nice to look at, and it was great. We really liked this hotel and highly recommend that Hilton in Washington, D.C. So that is my ranking of the 5 different hotels we stayed at on our most recent trip. I hope that this was valuable to you and kind of lets you know some of the things you can expect and not expect. Overall, I did say this in a previous video, I have found that during the pandemic that Hilton properties are doing a better job with cleaning than Marriott properties are. And I had actually found that to be true even before the pandemic started. Now, recently, Hilton has decided that they're going to stick with this no daily housekeeping thing permanently. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not thrilled about that for longer stays. They found that, I guess, that guests appreciate not having the interruption of having to work around housekeeping, coming and cleaning and making up their room. There's 3 reasons I'm not thrilled about that, especially for when there's more than 1 or 2 people in the room and when you're there for a longer time. Number 1 is you run out of towels. It is easy enough to call and have them bring more towels, but that's kind of annoying to have to do that. And other supplies like soap and stuff and tissues and toilet paper. The second reason is we always fill up the garbage. And the way that Hampton Inn and Suites in Corolla was doing it, giving people an extra garbage bag and having them put their garbage in the hall, that is a solution, but I don't think it's a very good one because it doesn't leave a very good impression on the guests when you're walking down a hall filled with garbage bags. And then the third thing I don't like about it is I don't want to make my bed. I don't want to make my bed when I'm on vacation. And one of the things I really enjoy about staying in a hotel is that they come and make the bed every day and the room is all nice when you come back to it. So I do miss that about having daily housekeeping, and I'm not real thrilled with Hilton for doing that. I understand their reasoning, but I'm also a little concerned that it's going to mean the elimination of a lot of jobs of people in the hospitality industry because they're not going to need as many people now because they're only going to be changing over the rooms between guests. So I'm not real sure how I feel about that. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments down below. And let me know if you've had any really great or really bad hotel stays and share those in the comments too. I love to hear your stories. Thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up to show your support. And again, if you enjoy travel content like this, be sure that you're subscribed to my channel. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.